Diego's Journal, October 12th, 2019. Philosopher died last night, and someone in this university knows why. Sonepat City, the last known pocket of humankind for miles. Beyond this, there's nothing. But I know one thing. There's no humanity here. The fields are on fire and the sky is dead. No sun on this place, and under the smoke, the people rejoice. They revel in their degeneracy, their Thursday nights at Express, their 200-man fights over cigarette, the drug empires in SH2. Not even a dry day on peace funnel can stop these freaks. The Islamic philosopher was the single good man in this place, and there's no one to bring him to justice. No one but Diego.
Another one, huh, Diego?
Boots. I didn't know the feds got involved already.
Third one this week. But this one's personal.
The Islamic philosopher dead. Candy?
No, I quit that years ago.
Who do you think could have done this, Boots? JGPS?
No, too smart for them.
Would it be Deepankar?
Ha! Put him away years ago.
Fun times, fun times. This looks like the perfect crime to me.
Almost. We have witnesses, but we can't get them to testify. I dropped out of law school when I failed family law too. Never got to study the Evidence Act.
Witnesses. Privileged communication. We're gonna need someone who can navigate through the Indian Evidence Act. We're gonna need an expert. You know a guy?
No. I know a Sapinda.
From the dusty mesa, a looming shadow grows, hidden in the branches of the poison creosote. She twines his vines up slowly towards the boiling sun, and when I touched her skin, my fingers ran with blood.
This must be the place. Huh?
Yeah, sure looks familiar.
It looks like a trash bin to me. They got a philosopher.
Yo, Dora! Wake up!
No, go away, we're closed. Come back tomorrow. Boots. What do you want? Huh? What do you come here for? There's something else you forgot to take from me? Huh? What the hell do you want?
Well, time hasn't been kind to you, Dora.
Oh, I get it. You're here to gloat, huh? Is that it?
This is Dora.
I know you. Your cousin Diego, yeah. You know, you've been making a big name for yourself ever since you got that mega rave at Anjani shut down. Big fan of your work. So what the hell do you guys want?
There has been a death.
I'll drink to that.
This is enough, you sick piece of trash! The Islamic philosopher is dead. He was our friend!
The Islamic philosopher is dead. What do you need?
What do you know about witnesses and privileged communication?
Give me 10 minutes. It has been a long time, old friend.
Right, welcome to the war room, hermanos.
Nice place.
Right, Dora, start talking. What do you know about the law of evidence?
I wrote the book on it.
Tell me what you know about competency of witnesses.
Good question. Witnesses. Now that falls under section 118 of the Indian Evidence Act. You know, so a lot of people have this idea that only certain people are qualified to testify in court as witnesses. A lot of people think that, for example, someone of unsound mind is unable to testify in court. Let me tell you this, Diego. That's wrong. The only bar on who can testify in court is whether or not the person testifying is able to understand the questions given to them by the judge, and they are able to form rational, coherent answers that make sense. As long as they can fulfill those two criteria, anyone can be a witness in court.
Even a child?
Even a child. Even someone of extreme age. Someone of unsound mind.
A lunatic?
Even an architecture student.
Right, Boots, take us to the witness.
So, we hear you were present the night the philosopher died. Could you tell us anything about that? Oh my god, he's 3 years old.
But he has a beard.
God damn it, who let this kid in?
How does a child even get into student council?
The government has its reasons. Thank you for coming from the retirement home, Uncle. We heard you were present at the night the murder happened. Can you tell us something about that?
Back in my day when I was CR, none of this would have ever happened. And of course I'm speaking about just the murder and nothing that Rishabh did. I can't see.
How is this old geezer even studying in the university?
How many resits are you allowed to give?
He's been researching evidence law since 1871.
All these witnesses are useless.
Don't worry. The next one is the best we have got. He's a retired cop, but he was the best.
So, we hear you were also present on the night of the philosopher's murder. Why were there so many people there? Anyway, could you please tell us what you saw that night?
Rats. Are there rats here?
Is everything okay? Why is he twitching?
Do you know about rats? Well, I do. You have to get in the mind of rat. If you don't get into the mind of a rat, you can't catch it. They're pretty smart, you know.
in spite of being small. Rats. There are multiple ways to catch them, by the way. One of them is mixing baking soda with chocolate powder. Mixing baking soda with chocolate powder induces them into eating it.
No, I don't think we're allowed to make fun of this one. Can't we use anything said by the child in our case?
Yeah, aren't children competent under section 118?
You know, Diego, you are right. So there was this case, Rameshwar versus State of Rajasthan. There was this case, Rameshwar versus State of Rajasthan. Tragedy. There was this child, 8 years old, and she was raped. But it turned out she was also the only witness. And so it was up to the courts to decide whether or not she could be held competent as the witness. And long story short, yes, she was said to be competent to be the witness. And Boots put that freak Rameshwar behind bars himself. But here's the thing. The rule of law has somewhat evolved since then. Now, because children, well, they're kids. You know, kids, it's very easy for an adult to influence a child, or a child could, make something up, or they could believe something in their imagination to be true. It's just a fact of life. So, in the case where a child makes a statement in the capacity as a witness, there needs to be at least some evidence, even if it's just corroborative evidence. There needs to be something backing up what they say to make their statement at least probable. And right now, in terms of our investigation, we've got nothing.
Wait, I know who did it.
Who?
There's only one man, one criminal, so depraved, who'd have done something like this.
Sit down. I have a story to tell you. It all started when I was a child, on the streets of Tijuana. I was a street urchin. Times were tough. I had to do things to survive, things I'm not proud of. How you think a pretty girl like me survived in those streets? Exactly. I was an explorer. For the Colombian cartel, Medellin cartel. I was helping them make their inroads into Mexico. That's when I met him. Swiper. El Zorro. Swiper. Escobar Alajara. Back then, he was the king of the underworld, and that was just small time for him. Every single crime in human history, he was in his hands. Let me tell you this. The Fight It Express. Swiper. The night canteen not being built. Swiper. Every single student council nominee losing to Nota. Swiper. 9/11, JFK, Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The fall of Constantinople, the first sin, the crucifixion of Christ. Swiper. He stole the Sharia law. That boy has been haunting me all my life. Every time I think I'm rid of him, he just keeps on coming back like a bad penny, like a cold you can't get rid of. None of these witnesses are worth anything. None of them are gonna get us conviction in court. And worst thing is, no one even knows where Swiper is. No one's seen him in the flesh in like 20 years or something. But wait, I have an idea. There is someone. And if we can get them to testify, we could put Swiper away. Maybe not for this crime, but trust me, they're a long-time associate of Swiper's. They have all kinds of dirt on him. I really don't want to see them again. It's the map. This here is Swiper's mansion.
Don't touch any. Oh my god.
Hello, boys.
Long time no see, old friend. Looking good.
Can't say the same about you, can I?
You haven't changed one bit, have you, Matt?
So what brings you over anyway?
We're here to talk to you about Swiper.
Swiper? So, you want to talk about Swiper, huh? You want to know about my husband?
Oh, you're married. Damn it.
We've been looking at him in relation to a murder. The murder of the Islamic philosopher.
The Islamic philosopher? I'm glad he's dead. I never really liked that man. Something about his face.
We know your husband's involved in this murder. Tell us everything you know.
I don't have to tell you anything.
Oh, I can make you talk. This isn't the first time I've tortured a woman.
Diego, no. She's right. The courts won't accept the testimony.
Why is that?
Privileged communication. I'll explain later. Let's go.
But wait!
What?
I can tell you one thing for old times' sake.
What is it?
I can tell you where you can find Swiper.
You know where he is?
Honey, if there's a place you gotta go, I'm the one you need to know. I'm the map.
What did you mean she's privileged?
Well, you see, there's a certain rule in law known as privileged communications. It's where certain facts would be inadmissible in court as to their being privileged from disclosure. This whole idea of privileged communication, in my opinion, it's a real pain for people like us. But essentially, it's enshrined from sections 121 to 132 of the Indian Evidence Act. It basically means that there are certain scenarios wherein a witness need not answer questions in court if they don't want to, or in other instances where their answer is prohibited, they cannot answer in court and be admissible, even if they might want to.
Section 120 of the Evidence Act makes every spouse a competent witness.
Yeah, but 122 is the spousal bar as per privileged communication. So essentially, if statements are made before or after the dissolution of marriage, there is no privileged communication. But if during the course of marriage there are statements made, there is privileged communication. Unless, of course, the spouse who is on the receiving end of these statements waives their right to the privileged communication. So, in this scenario, Map and Swiper, they've been married for a while. And to the best of our knowledge, they're not divorced, are they? So nothing Map says could be used against Swiper in the court of law. It's privileged communication, man. It sucks, but that's the rules.
So you mean to tell me that even if this marriage is dissolved, the communication between the spouses during the subsistence of the marriage is privileged?
Exactly. Now you understand.
What a bummer.
Well, it can be helpful sometimes. Section 125 of the Evidence Act says that magistrates and police officers cannot be compelled to tell whence they got the information regarding the commission of an offense. And the reason is that if you compel them, they might feel embarrassed and might not even give the information at all.
How do you know that, Boots?
Personal experience. Like that one time in Bangkok.
Well, seeing as how none of you guys seem to understand how the Evidence Act works, and we do need to pass this subject, I think it's time that I explain to you what professional communication is. So, professional communication is enshrined from sections 126 to 129 of the Indian Evidence Act. So, 126, for example, says that no barrister, lawyer, or vakil is allowed to disclose any information told to him by his client during the course of their employment together. Furthermore, he cannot disclose the contents of any document or paperwork that he might read while he's in the employ of his client. Make sense to you?
Why is that?
Well, think about it, Diego. If there was no privileged communication between a client and his, legal representative, well, then people wouldn't discharge all the information to their, lawyer. So if, I were to go to a lawyer and I didn't tell him all the facts because I was afraid that it would get me in trouble, well, then there would be no fair and even trial because not all the facts would come to light. It's basically an enshrinement of justice. It's making sure that people can tell their lawyers everything without fear and that the lawyers can give them the defense that they deserve.
What do the words disclose and communication mean in the statute?
Well, they're legal terms. Basically, what disclose means, disclosure implies that the knowledge that is in question, that is, underprivileged communications, is only known to two parties. So, if you're my lawyer and I'm your client, and I have, disclosed certain facts to you, the Islamic philosopher, may God bless his soul, who might be the judge in this case, is not privy to this information.
So you're saying something that anyone beyond the lawyer and the client would not know.
Exactly. And communication. So this is where the privilege only extends to things that have been communicated in the sense that they were intended to be private communications and they were communicated to the lawyer with the intention of getting professional advice for such communication.
So something during the course of employment.
Exactly. And only during the course of employment.
That makes no sense. That can be abused in so many ways.
Well, you see, Diego, justice ain't blind. You cannot claim privileged communication if that communication was, for example, this is one of the exceptions to this, was for furtherance of an illegal object. Or if, in the course of employment, you observe that there had been a fraud taken place. Well, in that case, there is no privileged communication.
What do you mean by an illegal object?
An illegal object. So, for example, if I go to my lawyer and I confess to him that I intend on committing a murder and I would like him to, cover up for me, I'm expressing the intention to commit some illegal activity. There is no privileged communication in that scenario.
Well, that makes sense.
Exactly. But on the bright side, we finally know where Swiper is. Come on. Vámonos.
Ay, Dora. You come back to me after so many years?
Swiper, you pendejo. I'd hoped that the next time I saw you, you would be in a body bag. Sadly, that has yet to come to pass.
You don't forget where you come from, Dora.
I remember all too well, Swiper.
You remember, do you? I remember you being an orphan on the streets of Tijuana. I taught you to explore. I taught you everything you know. And you think I'm an evil man? Look at the company you keep. This hijo de puta. His mother was a whore on the streets of Guatemala.
You leave Sanchez out of this!
I have done many a crime in my time, Dora. But this philosopher, I did not kill him.
But we never mentioned the Islamic philosopher, did we?
Ay.
Get him, boys!
Ay, caramba. Where am I? No! What have you done?
Missing something, Swiper? Knowledge has a price, brother.
Hijo de puta. I'm not gonna tell you anything.
Oh, you will. We have ways to make you talk.
You gonna hurt me, Diego?
No, Swiper. You see, violence is never the answer. Violence is the question. And the answer is yes. Question 1. What's my name?
What the hell are you doing?
Question 2. What is my name?
Dora.
You're goddamn right.
Leave this to you.
Where'd Boots go?
You know, feds are always so busy. He had to run off for something, but he said he'd be seeing us later. So, what'd he say?
Believe it or not, he actually didn't do it. But he's not innocent either. He's an accomplice. He told me that the killer is an animal in a mask.
An animal in a mask?
No idea who that is, but he knows where his secret lair is. And I can get him to take us there.
Well, come on. Vámonos.
This is the place.
Sure looks familiar.
I wish this country let us use handcuffs. Famous headband of the final Islamic philosopher. Wait, this means Ya Allah. Dora, move.
What?
Sense the presence.
It's you, isn't it? It's you!
Hablando del Diablo. Boots. It was you.
My friend Dora. It started many years back when MAP left us and you and I decided to split. I started working for the government. I was undercover in Chhattisgarh where I was toppling tribal governments to acquire forest land for a steel company. What was the name? Kindle, Windle, Nah.
Stealing land. Well, that would explain this place.
When I found out what I was really doing, I tried to be an honest man and reported to the courts. But they just thought I was monkeying around. Decided the case of State of Punjab versus Sukhdev Singh and threw me out.
State of Punjab versus Sukhdev Singh. I know that case. The ratio is that Section 123 says that even if a piece of evidence is material and relevant to the case, it may not be admissible in court. And now that clearly is very different to how the evidence law usually works. And now the test for this is whether the damage that revealing this piece of evidence would do to the public interest would be greater than the gain that revealing this evidence would give. So, for certain sensitive pieces of information that are of government interest and public interest, they may not be revealed in court.
You know what? You'll never get a conviction. Swiper will never testify. Because if he does, he's going down too.
Oh no, he will. See, under section 133, an accomplice is a competent witness. And there's more. You see, the old English law used to compel accomplices to testify before the court, and the new modern English law protects them. And the Indian position is a compromise between the two. There was a case about the Dora, you'd know this one. Lakshmi Chiroria versus State of Maharashtra. This was a bunch of people smuggling gold into India through an airplane. And they had an air stewardess who was an accomplice. But the court compelled her to testify before them. And it was contended that her testimony is inadmissible because she was an accomplice. The court disagreed. So Section 132 of the Evidence Act protects Swiper even if he's compelled by the court of law to testify. Unless, of course, Swiper here is willing to do it voluntarily. In that case, there's no protection. So you see, Indian law has quite a balance there. And it's not against Article 20, subsection 3 of the Constitution of India, because technically, even though he's been compelled, it's not self-incriminatory.
Alright. You really want to know why I did this? All that story about the government was bullshit. The real reason to test the limits of my abilities.
Oh my god!
Hasta la vista.
No! Ah!
Pathetic. But how?
कानून के हाथ
How
बड़े
did you
लंबे
catch
होते हैं और दो चूहे बहुत छोटा है.
Diego's Journal, October 13th, 2019. A Sapenda died tonight. Not even the brightest mind in Sonepat City could save this place. Every step there is betrayal. Boots betrayed us. The government betrayed Boots. It all keeps happening. Who killed the Islamic philosopher? We did. This city. This society. I killed the philosopher. Boots killed the philosopher. You killed the philosopher.
All the evidence has been covered up. They'll never find you, Chief.
Thank you, Boots, for taking the fall for me. I thought those guys were out of my way after they failed them in family law.
So then I could become the ultimate Islamic philosopher.